Yes, I know I look different. It's been a few months. What do you expect? My hair grew out. And now I'm reading stuff that isn't books about game design. Not that I don't have them. I do. I just am not reading them right now. Censorship has been in the news recently. And by that I mean people are talking about censorship on Reddit. Especially people interested in video games. And here's why. Two things happened. One, GTA 5 was essentially banned in Target Australia, and hatred was kicked off of Steam Greenlight. This isn't the first time censorship has cropped up in video games. Anyone who grew up in the 90s and remembers that fiasco will always have a tough time accepting any kind of censorship of video games. When we talk about censorship, what exactly are we talking about? That's the real question today. So let's talk about that. Would you consider it censorship if people organized a book burning of a book they didn't like? Would you consider it censorship if the government banned a specific book from your country? Would you consider it censorship if your local state office banned the practice of a certain religion or certain religious texts from being spread around? Would you consider it censorship if Weird Al Yankovic's mother, which is a true story by the way, would take permanent marker and mark up magazine ads with women in it so that he wasn't exposed to sexuality? Is that censorship? What about what the FCC does? Is that censorship? Bleeping out words. You see, there's a lot of haziness about what censorship really is. I would say censorship probably amounts to something akin to blocking out someone's ability to purchase or use something. So in the case of books, burning a book is censorship regardless of who does it. If the government does it or if a group organizes and does it, it's censorship because no one will now be able to read those books that are burned. In the case of GTA 5, I would say it is censorship, in that this group organized got Target Australia to drop GTA 5, and GTA 5 is now not available to anyone who would have purchased it. Essentially, Target Australia has favored the people who wouldn't purchase GTA 5 by getting rid of a product that people who would have purchased it are now not able to purchase. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me either. In the case of hatred, that's a little different. Steam has a choice in this matter, and it's not really the consumer's right in this regard. And by that I mean Steam is publishing it. You don't write into highlights. The children's magazine, you don't write into highlights and say, you know, here's my letter, please publish it. And your letter is filled with horrible, grotesque racism, sexism, just the worst kind of letter possible for a children's magazine. And you don't get upset that Highlights didn't publish that letter. I think it's probably within Highlights' rights to not publish your crappy letter. And that's where I stand on this whole censorship thing. I think censorship removes the choice from another person. At that point, it becomes censorship. If you choose not to do something and tell other people, hey, you know, that guy, the guy that owns this place, you know, this club that we're at, the guy that owns this club, he's kind of a jerk. That's not really censorship, because those people could say, well, I like this club anyways, I'm gonna go here anyways. Or they can say, well, yeah, he's a jerk, let's go. That's up to them. You're not making the choice for them, you're informing them, and that's a huge difference. And I think when you cross the line between information and censorship, you have a problem in your hands. Now, it is worth noting that Gaben, the great and powerful, most likely stepped in and reinstated hatred to Steam, which is a good first step, but it stands to reason that Australia's Target probably will not follow suit. Video game industry, please wake up. Censorship is happening, and it is like the 90s again. It is. It is like the 90s violent video game scare all over again. So please, please do something. Please do something about it. Thank you. Video game industry, please wake up. Know what is censorship, and please